All right. Imagine you are in that position yourself. Imagine what kind of thought you will have, what kind of feeling you will have, and how you are going to behave. Are you going to run like this guy, or you are going to take another kind of action? Definitely, we have different way of dealing with this kind of situations. But at the end of the day, we have the same goal, to find a safe place that will be able to make us feel in peace and become happy in our life. So, in that case, we need to understand what is going on exactly with this person. This person is basically experiencing stress at that time. And we say stress is a process of appraisal that we appraise internal and environmental events as harmful. The lion is running behind you. That's a very difficult situation, and it's threatening and challenging as well. Challenging means you need to find a way to get out of this situation. And well, it's not easy. So it's really challenging. See, you need to use all the resources we have. And what happened with that situation? We respond to this event physiologically, emotionally, cognitively, and even behaviorally. So, well, our bodies react. Emotionally, we react. Cognitively, because it's a challenge. We need to find a way out of the problem. And therefore, at the end, we do certain behavior to help ourselves or to save ourselves from this kind of very painful or threatening situation. The question that poses itself is all type of stress bad? We might defend this situation, but definitely it's not. Most of the time you can say, well, not all stresses are bad. Our bodies are wired to protect us from danger. That's the reality. And we have a natural instinct to avoid danger when we face it. And that's why when we find ourselves in a very difficult situation like this one, then our first reaction will be running. So that is a natural instinct to avoid danger, to protect ourselves. And we can say that is one step when we try to deal with situation. Whether it is the right one or not, then we can see at the end of this presentation. We have a nature of flight or fight when we are in this kind of situation. And while fighting is to look for solution to deal with the situation, and flight means to run away to avoid the situation. As far as the lion is so strong to you, so you won't be able to face it. And therefore, most people will decide to run away, like this guy, like the way he's doing. However, a small amount of stress may be needed, for better performance so that we can perform to our highest potential. So we need certain stress or certain level of stress so that we can be more productive at work. Now, it is only bad when it is too much because the consequences are really taxing. So to have better understanding of stress, we need to talk about these two aspects of stress. The first one is your stress, which is considered as positive stress. And this is what we need in order for us to perform. And the other type of stress is distress. And the distress is the negative stress that influences us negatively and is considered as a problem in our life, particularly in a workplace. So we need your stress because it can help us to perform to our highest potential. Like the way when you have a deadline, then you try to work so hard to make sure that you meet deadline, and you have to make sure that your performance is really in a very high level so that it can be convincing to your boss or your senior or whatever. And therefore, that is considered as your stress because it helps you perform. But when it is so much, then it becomes negative, and therefore, it may involve this kind of thing. It interferes with our ability, first of all, to do our job effectively. And therefore, when you are under distress, then you won't be able to think creatively. You won't be able to think logically. You won't be able to pay proper attention. You won't be able to socialize. Yeah, you'll find it difficult because you are in a very difficult situation. You won't be able to make rational decisions. And we know when you are in a workplace, then what you need is to make decisions that will be able to be to support the objective of your presence at work. And therefore, you need a rational decision so that they will not be counterproductive. Now, when you are distressed, you won't be able to do all this. You won't be able to work effectively. Socialization will be an issue. Making rational decisions will be a problem. And therefore, you find yourself in a very difficult situation. So, how do we define stress at work? If you want to say, what is stress at work? We can say stress at workplace is the result of experiences that come along when demands exceed resources. Yeah, because normally at work we have duties to do, and we have resources to use to achieve the objectives. When the demands are so high or so heavy compared to resources we have, then we become skeptical whether we will be able to do it or not. And it becomes, first of all, it becomes a threat. It becomes a challenge. And if we combine those two, challenge and stress, a threat, then what will happen is we will experience stress and we will lose control. So we won't be able to work effectively. We won't be able to make rational decisions, and socialization at work as well will be difficult. Why are we talking about socialization at work? Well, normally we work in offices where we have a group of people, even if you are in the office alone, but you have certain colleagues that you work together as a chain. So you need to finish your work and give it to somebody else and somebody else, so that at the end you achieve the goal of your work. Now, if you cannot socialize with others, you don't have good way of dealing with people, you have problem, for example, in communication and so forth, you face a lot of problems in dealing with people in workplace. Therefore, this part can explain what exactly happens. We have interpersonal and we have intrapersonal stresses. Now, interpersonal are related to us, that maybe you have a problem, maybe you don't have enough skills to do certain jobs. That could be interpersonal, is within you. Okay, within interpersonal, within other colleagues can be maybe relationship, okay? But the one which is related to you personally, then that is intrapersonal within you, that you don't have skills to do the job, you don't have confidence, you have low self-esteem and so forth. Interpersonal is related to your interaction with the people in the office. And therefore, there are two categories of, let's say, stressors at workplace. And we have to deal with them both so that we can be achieving our goal as required. Now, what are the common stresses at work? There are certain things that we consider as common stresses. One of them is time management. Most of us have goals to achieve, but the problem is we cannot control our time. We don't have a proper planning, or we don't have proper time management that can help us to achieve our goal in a specific time. And because of this, most people suffer a lot of problems. One of the biggest problems that may happen is procrastination. We delay the job, to another time. Whenever you want to do the job, then you say, I'll do it later. You focus on other things. And that is one of the biggest problems or biggest source of stress in a workplace. Another biggest source of stress in workplace is poor communication skills. We know we have individual differences. We are not all the same. There are people who have, very fine communication skills. They are social. They know how to interact with others. They have, let's say, they are humorous. They are very social. They have, let's say, empathy. They have ability to understand others and so forth. And these people, they have very good communication. On the other side, those people who have poor communication skills, they face a lot of problems because they are involved in a fight or disagreement and misunderstanding most of the time when they're in the office because of their inability to work in a group. Now, another common source of stress at work is lack of planning. Now, there is a common saying which say that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So if you don't have proper planning for your job, then you will have a lot of problems. One of the problems may be you won't be able to finish your job in time, or maybe your job will be very, very difficult on you because maybe it needs longer time and you have no enough time. Or maybe your ability to do the job as well, doing it in it's one lump sum is a problem, but you can break it down into pieces. By breaking down into pieces or section, then you can easily do one section after the other. And at the end, you find yourself, you've accomplished a very tough job with a very, let's say, minor effort. Therefore, planning is very important. Those people who fail to plan, then normally they will experience failure. Now, another problem or another common stress at work is distractions. There are many kinds of distractions. The distraction can be maybe phone calls, or maybe a colleague just come to your office to chat, or maybe you distract yourself, by viewing, for example, emails or which are not necessary. You watch videos, you watch news instead of focusing on your work. Then you distract yourself with things which are not really important at that time. And those are also biggest stressors at work. Now, the other aspect of human, that really causes stress by itself is attitude. Our attitude sometimes becomes stress. How do we view ourselves and how do we view others? Do we take things personal or we take things, objectively and so forth? This behavior may make you successful, or it may really destroy your career at your workplace. Also, lack of creativity. We know if you keep on doing your work the same way every day, without having any kind of changes or using another way of doing your work, then, well, it may be stressful after some time because you get bored and, well, you lose motivation to do your job and, you don't know what to do. You want to do a job and you can't do because you have no motivation. But if you use creativity, then it may motivate you to be more active, more engaged in your work, and most likely it won't be a stressful experience. Lack of creativity also is a source of stress in workplace. Now, the last point I wanted to discuss with you among the common stresses at work is leadership style. Well, leadership style is a big issue. There are people who lead from top down, and there are people who lead from down top. And, well, we have different kinds of personalities. There are people who interact with their subordinates, and there are people who just stay away and they don't have any proper relationship with their subordinates or people that they lead. So, well, the leadership style may be a stressor at work as well, because if the boss is not really leading by example, maybe he might be a problem. Or if the leadership style is just giving commands without considering, the situation of their colleagues or subordinates, that can be a problem. So sometimes leadership style can be a problem at workplace as well. Now, what are the consequences? If the workplace is very stressful, then the consequences are, first of all, low productivity. Means the productivity will be very low. because of many reasons. One of them is low motivation and maybe absenteeism and so forth. And well, people are not happy in their job, so they are not really engaged. That is one of the biggest problems that may happen at the workplace. The other consequence is strained interpersonal relationship between the people who work in the same place. And if there is no good relationship among the group that work together, then productivity and achievement can be very difficult. So we need to make sure that there's a very good relationship. Otherwise, if it is not there, then normally it may be one of the biggest source of stress in the workplace. So we need to find a way to improve our interpersonal, or you can say intrapersonal relations, so that we can accept our own situation, and we can accept also other people. We can have good relationship with other people and be able to do our job appropriately. Now, we have also physical health. Another consequence of stress at work, most likely, some people, will break down physically, and there will be a lot of, health complications. We know that many physical disease have got their origin from psychological disease, psychological aspect. If you are scared every day, then you may develop certain kind of, pain somewhere without knowing what it is from or where it is pain from. But it can be the result of the tension you have in your body. It manifests itself in a physical form. So stress can also cause physical disease as well. There are people who suffer headache, very chronic headache, and there are people who have no solutions for their job stressors. They may develop, migraine headache, okay, and another kind of disease that may pop up as a result of very severe experience of stress. Mental health, that is very clear that if we experience, long-time stress and we couldn't find solution for our stresses, then one of the major consequences is mental health. People will experience depression, they will experience maybe another kind of phobia, or they may hate their job, or may they hate dealing with other people, they will develop social phobia and so forth. And in this case, people will not be able to do their job anymore. Another kind of consequences of stress is lack of higher brain function. If you are under stress, then normally you won't be able to focus and think appropriately. And you won't be able to, to use higher brain functioning because you can't really think. You are tired all the time. You are not comfortable. You don't feel, being at work. You don't feel there is any kind of, let's say, positive aspect of your job, and therefore you are not happy at all. And therefore your focus will be more on the negativity or negative aspect of your job than the positive one. And therefore higher functioning will be very impossible. And therefore creativity will not be there, okay? People will not be able to think rationally. They won't be able to come on new ideas. All these will be hindered if there will be a lot of stress at the workplace. Another consequence of stress at the workplace is reduced attention span. People have no ability to focus on a specific duty for a long time because, well, they don't have energy, or there are a lot of, rumination going on in their mind. Rumination are the negative thoughts that we have about situation and things and our bosses and colleagues around us and so forth. And therefore your attention to focus on your job then will be reduced. Therefore you will not be able to do well in a specific job that needs attention, like for example, accounting or planning and so forth. So you will find it very difficult. Now, another consequence of stressors at work is impulsivity. Impulsivity basically is making regrettable decisions. We make decisions without proper, thinking through those options that we have. At the end of the day, we regret. And if we keep on doing that, or doing, very, frequent mistakes, then what is going to happen is we'll develop guilty conscience. And that will not be good for our mental health. And instead of helping you to grow, then it creates more mental health issues. And they will create more problems at your work and your personal life and so forth. So those are some of the consequences of stresses at work. Now, if we have identified the stresses at work, we need to find what can we do to get rid of those stresses so that we can maintain the well-being. But what is well-being in itself? Well-being in a workplace means a happy work life that enhances satisfaction. So you are not only happy, but you also achieve satisfaction. If you are happy but there's no satisfaction, then, well, that is not considered well-being. So you need to be able to be in a situation where you are happy at work. At the same time, that kind of job gives you some sort of satisfaction in your life. So the happiness that you have enhances or induces satisfaction. And if you are, satisfied with your job, then there will be many more positive things that will happen. And if you are stressed, then of course you won't be able to be satisfied. And therefore you won't be able to have the workplace well-being. Now, I have suggested certain guidelines for us to use it at the workplace so that we can achieve well-being. One of them is work quality. What do we mean by work quality? Work quality should be, the work that we are doing should be fulfilling. Fulfilling means, well, it helps you to grow personally as individuals. So you get more information, more knowledge, more skills that make you feel that you are growing. You achieve new skills. Most people who are working in areas where there is no career development at all, they don't experience the growth at work, then there will be a lot of turnover at the job because people feel that I don't get anything. The other aspect of fulfilling job is the job should give you some sort of, let's say, status that I'm doing this job and I feel good doing this job, because it gives me a status. For example, if you are a professor in university, that's a good job. But if the job is, let's say, unfortunately to say, for example, if you are a garbage collector, then you may not be, happy with that job, but you're just doing it because you have no other thing to do. So one way to make sure that we maintain well-being at work, we have, our job has to have quality that we'll be able to fulfill, to give us, some sort of satisfaction, is fulfilling our needs, and also it gives us some sort of, respect and what we call it, a level of satisfaction. Also, if the job has no creativity at all, it may not be a quality job because, well, people have no chance to use their creativity. So they keep on doing, the same thing always, and repetition of same thing always, even if it is good, it might be boring after some time, and therefore it may cause stress. So we need to have creativity so that people can experience, different kind of activities, different way of doing things, even the same thing, but we have different way of doing things. Therefore, it gives them motivation and courage to be more engaged in their job. Another aspect of work quality is organization. If the work is not organized, people don't know exactly what are their duties and what are supposed to be done, and timing and so forth. And well, it may be very stressful because people don't know what are their rights, how should they plan their life, and what are kind of achievements should they expect from the job and so forth. So the job should be organized. If there is no organization, then it may create a lot of mess, and a lot of mess at work, then less well-being for sure. So in order for us to make sure that we maintain well-being at work, our job also should be organized, fulfilling, and it should involve some sort of creativity. The other guideline is safety. We need to have physical and, let's say, psychological safety. Personal and environmental safety are very important. So you need to be safe while you are at work. If you work under a lot of stress, if you work under a lot of pressure, you think that you are not safe, then, well, sometimes you might achieve highly, but you won't be feeling, satisfied in your job. You won't feel that you are stress-free, or you won't be able to engage, let's say, happily in your job. So the motivation to some extent can be reduced because you feel you can, you can lose your personal safety or environmental safety anytime. Personal safety means, well, people accept what you do, okay? And you are safe in a way that, okay, you don't face any kind of psychological problems or physical problems around. The office has got some, let's say, cooling system is proper. We have safety issues, environmental safety issues in case of fire, whatever. So you are in a safe place where you can work comfortably and also engage in your job in more concentrated manner. Now, another issue that may cause well-being at job, at workplace, is having skills to do your job. In other words, we call it competence. If you are competent in your job, then it can be a source of well-being for sure, because you have skills of how to do your job, and therefore you can engage in your job while you are confident. I'm doing this job, that I know what I'm doing. You have the skills, you have the ability, and so forth, and therefore you become very much pleased in what you are doing. Therefore, there's a very high likelihood that you're going to be satisfied and maintain well-being at work. One of the biggest issues is job satisfaction. If you are satisfied with your job, most likely you are going to be happy at your work. And this will lead to workplace well-being, because you are satisfied with your job, and you feel your job is really fulfilling, and you are working while you are happy and you know what you are doing. And it gives you also the satisfactory return, for example, in terms of salary or socialization, status, and so forth, okay? It depends upon what are your expectations. Because when you achieve your expectation, then the likelihood of well-being or satisfaction is there. Now, professional growth is very important. If you are a leader in a group of at workplace, you need to make sure that you provide professional growth to your subordinates or colleagues, because any job which has no professional growth, people won't feel comfortable staying there. They will just stay there for some time, looking for other opportunity that will give them an opportunity also to grow professionally. And if people think that they cannot grow professionally, they are not happy in their job. They just do it because they have no other alternative. And therefore, to maintain workplace well-being, our job, how to provide some professional growth. So maybe we need to provide some training, seminars, okay, workshops, okay, and certain skill-based, seminars and workshops that will be able to help, subordinates have experience that they are professionally growing, okay, and that is very important aspect of work well-being. Now, we have these two pictures here. Here, on the right side, the left side, we have positive communication. And on the right side, we have positive environment. When we have positive communication at work, normally it really motivates us to work very, let's say, creatively, and we focus on our job because we feel that there is a proper communication between people, so people understand each other, and we avoid any kind of like glitches or grudges because we have no problem in communication. People who have negative communication, then they find workplace as really trouble-producing place, and therefore they will never be able to be satisfied, and they will never be achieving well-being at all. Now, the environment, as I told you before, if you have positive environment and safe environment to work, then most likely you will work comfortable and will be able to achieve the work well-being. Now, another guideline that can help us to achieve workplace well-being is you shouldn't do everything yourself if you are a leader. So if you are a leader of a group, or let's say director of an office, then one of the important things that you need to do is you do delegate duties. You should not do everything by yourself. So by delegating, duties to subordinates or different kind of people you have in the office, then that will be able to give you some sort of relief, and therefore it might be a source of workplace well-being because you feel that you don't feel so much pressure on your shoulders that you have to do everything. All right. Effective time management, that's another issue. We have problem in time management, as we said at the beginning. So if you want to be happy, satisfied with our job so that we can achieve well-being, we need to have effective time management skills that will be able to improve our time management. And therefore, we do things according to the time frame that we have, and you plan to do particular duty at particular time. By doing so, you find yourself at the end of the day or the end of the week, you have done all the duties that you're supposed to do because you have proper time management. Failure to have proper time management, then it will create a lot of stress. Having effective time management, it will help you to feel relief, and therefore you will be able to manage to get workplace well-being. You need to plan as well. As we said, one of the biggest stress at work is failure to plan. Now, if you plan, it will help you to achieve your goals in a timely manner. And it may also be a source of workplace well-being because you have a plan, you know what you're supposed to do, you have planned what to do, and you have also used timing to plan what is supposed to be done. So you have objectives to be achieved at every specific time or every specific period, or you can say a specific day or week or month. So planning can help you to be stress-free, and therefore it will be able to give you some sort of well-being. Now, some people, they sit down and plan how to do their job, but unfortunately they lack discipline. So if you just plan and you have no discipline, then you will find yourself that you have just let's say white elephant, but it doesn't have any kind of benefit for you. It's a huge plan that you have, but what are the outcomes? What are the objectives achieved? Nothing, because you have no discipline. You don't follow your plan as you have put it on paper. So you need to have discipline in order for you to achieve your objective as you plan in your plan. So plan alone is not enough, but you need to have discipline as well. Now, another point that can help you to achieve well-being at work and reduce stress is prioritization. You need to prioritize what you want to do. And we have duties which are of high importance, and we have duties that are not very urgent. They can wait until tomorrow. And there are certain assignments that we have to do today. So, prioritization will be able to help you to identify what is supposed to be done immediately and what can be done in the evening, what can be left for tomorrow. And therefore, you are going to be more organized, and therefore, there is a very high likelihood that you'll be able to achieve workplace well-being. Now, sometimes we are not realistic When we plan a lot of things, and we forget, about uh, uh, giving it, or let's say, put it in a proper time frame. So we put a lot of things on our plate in a way that we cannot finish within a day or within a specific time frame. So we need to be realistic. We need to be realistic in what you can accomplish in a specific time frame, so that you don't be so ambitious and you don't make it so little. So make it something that is really reasonable, and you'll be able to accomplish that duty in that specific time. But if you put a lot on your plate and you won't be able to finish in according to a plan, then it's going to create more stress, because you will find yourself that you are always behind. That will not give you well-being. So be realistic in your plans so that you can achieve well-being at work. Now, we need to balance as well. One of the goal of life is to balance. Yeah. So our life basically is just balancing. From the day you are born until the day you go to grave, or from morning the time you wake up until evening, you balance. What do you balance? We have a lot of things that we need to balance. One of them is work and life demands. We have work demands and we have life demands. We need to balance between those two, because if you don't balance, then they will create tension. And when they create tension, then you won't be able to have what we call as workplace well-being. No, so by balancing, creating proper balance, that you do your job properly, and you have also some time for your, let's say, leisure and socialization, then you find yourself living happy life. Living happy life at your work, that will be work well-being, and living happy life outside, and that is social well-being. And therefore, you need to balance between those two. Now, if you focus more on work without social well-being, what is going to happen is you're going to break down physically and psychologically as well, because we need to find space. The nature of a human being is we need to find time for ourselves to relax, so that we can gain new energy for whatever kind of job we want to do. We need to rest our minds sometimes, so that they can be more fresh to tackle, more higher functioning, let's say, thinking and so forth. And therefore, we need both aspects of life. We need to work to make a living, and also we need also to socialize, so that we can create balance, because we need both. Just imagine for a human being who is, let's say, workaholic, and he focuses more on his work, and he doesn't care about family at all. What will happen? If that person is married, then families at home, family members, can be wife or kids, they're going to suffer, because they will miss this person all the time. And there will be no contribution at home in terms of, let's say, socialization or family life. This person, when he goes home, is very exhausted, maybe very angry sometimes, and instead of really helping himself physically and psychologically, is really destroying himself and destroying the family as well. So we need to make a balance. Even if you are not married, you need to make balance, so that you as an individual can experience, both aspects of life. In this case, then you will be living happy life, whether at work or outside, at home, or wherever you are. So life is an act of balance, as if you are standing on one leg and your hands are stretched. So you are trying to balance here. And what can help us to balance? You need to plan. That will help you to balance. You need to prioritize. That will help you to balance. You need also to create, let's say, realistic, time frame and realistic job duties or objectives. That is also considered part of, balancing, so that you can live your life happily. If you fail to do that, then you are more into career or more into social life, then you are going to lose the other part. And therefore, whether you are not going to be, let's say you are not going to maintain well-being at work, or you are not going to maintain well-being at home. And well, to be realistic, you need both as a human being. Now, another possible aspect that can help improve our well-being at work, to accept your imperfection. Some people think that, you need to be perfect. And well, if they have any kind of weakness, then they consider it as, let's say, something very negative, and they wouldn't like to share that with anyone. And that is not the nature of human being. All of us have got positive and negative aspects. All of us, we have some strength and we have weaknesses. That's the nature of human being. So accepting your imperfections sometimes can help you get out of, difficult situation and maintain better workplace well-being. If you accept your imperfection, then it may help you to change, to find ways to change, or to ask for help from someone else. Like what we see here, this lady, maybe she's having a problem, she doesn't know how to do some of her work. Then she is requesting some guidance or, let's say, information from her boss. And therefore, doing that, it will give you some way out of the problem. And therefore, you will be able to do your job and you become happy when you achieve the objectives. So in that case, well-being can be achieved. But if you think you are perfect and you don't want to really disclose, their weaknesses so that you can get help, that will be always, detrimental to your mental well-being, physical well-being, and also work well-being. Now, the reality is no one is perfect in this life. Only people we can't think of being perfect, only people that we can think of being perfect are those we don't actually know them very well. But if you know someone very well, you will be able to identify the imperfection they have. In this case, we say everyone is possible to be imperfect in certain areas and to be perfect in certain areas. But to be overall perfect, it might be possible, but those are rare cases. Now, another guideline that can improve our workplace well-being is don't leave your work to the last minute. Or in other words, you can say, please don't procrastinate. Procrastination is an enemy of performance at work. And if you don't perform well, then you are not going to be happy, and therefore you won't be able to achieve workplace well-being. What are the sources of procrastination? One of them is lack of knowledge or skills about particular work you are supposed to do. If you don't have knowledge or skills, then normally you would say, I do it later, because you don't feel comfortable doing it. I'll do it tomorrow, and because you don't have motivation to do it. You don't have the knowledge, you don't have the skills, no competence, and therefore that could be one of the reasons why people procrastinate. The other cause of procrastination is time-consuming duty. Sometimes we might have a very tedious job that need to be accomplished. And whenever you want to try, you feel, oh my God, this one will take a long time. Let me do something else. And by doing so, you will always be procrastinating, and you will leave that job to the last minute, and it causes you a lot of pressure at the end, because every work has a due time that we are supposed to submit. And if you have not finished, then of course your boss won't be pleased with that. And you will create tension within yourself. And you may also create tension with other colleagues, who are working with you in the workplace. And that will destroy the work, the well-being. So therefore, to achieve the well-being, you need to make sure that you don't leave your work at the last minute, and avoid procrastination by all means. Another cause of procrastination is fear of failure. As we said, if you lack skills or knowledge to do a certain work, therefore you have negative thoughts that I'm afraid that I will not be able to do this job properly. And therefore you tend to, to drag it, a bit further after tomorrow, next week, is until you find yourself in a corner where you have to do it and you have not done it, and therefore you find yourself in a very high tension. Workplace well-being will not be possible. To avoid that, we need to do our job. Once we have, let's say, an assignment to do it, then we need to do it on a time. Or if not on time, at least you plan for it and try to commit yourself with the plan you have. Now, this is the fourth cause of procrastination: fear of being judged. Some people are afraid of being judged, that whether they are afraid of people seeing them doing particular kind of work. And they are afraid maybe if other people will be able to judge them what they are doing is right or wrong, or maybe to judge them when they don't have skills to do it, or to do any kind of judgment that come from other people around you. That could be one of the source of procrastination. So people may have thought that, let me do it alone. Let me do it when everyone is not here. Let me do it, when I am in a safe environment and so forth. And by doing so, they find themselves dragging, the certain kind of assignment for 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, 1 month. And at the end of the day, they find themselves in a very difficult situation that they have to do it and they have no time at all to accomplish what they want. So these are some of the reasons of procrastination. Now, another aspect that can help our work well-being is to be assertive. We have, assertive training is a particular training that, you try to acquire skills that will be able to help you to communicate with other people in a more positive way. And we call it being assertive or assertive interaction. And that may help solve many kind of problems at work. There are people who have, who can't really say no. Whatever they are, they are doing, they are told to do, they will say, okay, even if they don't know how to do it, or they don't have skills, or they have a lot on their plate at that time, but they will never say no. Or they will never say no to intruders, those people who come and interfere in the office. But, because there are people who just come for chat. They want to chat with you, talking, and maybe they have finished what they're supposed to do and they come to talk to you. Now they are looking for someone to socialize. Well, you need to find a good way to tell these people, can you give me 5 minutes to finish my work so that I can be free, then I can come and talk to you. Yeah. Some people, they don't have that ability. They find it very difficult. And therefore, they just invite all what we call uninvited guests, and they become problematic to their work. Or they have no ability to say no to people who are destroying, their time or their work, whatever. And therefore, this becomes a weakness that really interfere with the workplace well-being. So in order for you to maintain work well-being, to have ability to say what you want to say in a good way, being assertive, ability to tell other people what you want to say in a good language, in a good way. You don't have to insult someone, okay? And you don't have to, let's say, to say bad words. You don't have to show rude, let's say, gestures and so forth. But saying what you want to say in a more positive way, that can be very pleasing and can be very fulfilling, and you can achieve well-being at work. Now, there are people who entertain distractions when they have important work to do. Like, for example, phone calls, or let's say chatting, or let's say browsing through internet and so forth. This kind of behavior is really distressing, and it gives us tough time at work. So if you want to achieve, workplace well-being, you need to find some mechanism to avoid distractions. Maybe by planning that, okay, if you have a phone, you said, well, I switch off my phone for 1 hour. so that I can focus on work. And I will open my phone after 1 hour to see if there are any message or phone call. So any call that come, during that time, you won't entertain it at all. So you stop all kind of distraction. That can be very useful aspect or technique that can help you to achieve work well-being, because there will be no distraction and you can focus on your job appropriately. Like this guy, the way you see him now, he has work here, on his table, but he has, maybe he got some message and he decided to focus on the message. He may lose the focus on his job as well, or what was supposed to be done. And message sometimes may create also interruption in a way that it can give you some disturbing information and it will really interfere with your well-being at work. Now, effective communication, is that another aspect? Maybe assertiveness can be one way to effective communication, but also maintaining face-to-face communication is very important. When you discuss certain issues, phone call may not be very effective because people cannot read your body language. How urgent is what we are talking about is how much importance you give to that particular duty, and maybe what information you need from this person. So face-to-face discussion sometimes can provide extra information that will be able to make everything clear and provide wellness in your communication or effective communication in general. We need also to be good listeners. There are people who are very good, they like to talk and they don't like to listen at all. If you are a boss in the office, then you need to listen to your subordinates. If you just give command and you are not willing to listen, then, well, that's not effective communication. That is one-way communication. It is always very disturbing at work. But if it is two-way communication, then people might be feeling, happy, and they feel that, okay, there is a kind of interaction with their boss or with their colleagues, around them, so that they can feel more, let's say, interactive, socially fulfilling, and therefore they can maintain the workplace well-being. Now, one of the major issues also that happen is taking things personally. This is also related with the effective communication, because people who take things personally, normally they have problem in their communication. Whatever they would tell them, they take things personally. They don't really think that you are really, let's say, you mean what you say. They make another kind of interpretation, and therefore it always creates a problem. Those kind of people, most of the time they have negative attitude. So in order for us to improve or to maintain happiness at office and well-being, we need to maintain positive attitude. And positive attitude is being optimistic about situation, interaction, and even yourself. Situation is work. Whatever situation that pops up, whether positive or negative, you need to be optimistic. If there is a problem, you need to have, a positive aspect that I will be able to handle this. I'll be able to solve this. It's just a matter of time, I have ability and I will be able, so thinking positively can help you to feel more, let's say, at ease at work and feeling more motivated. And that is one aspect of well-being at workplace. People with positive attitudes remain hopeful and can see the best even in difficult situations. So, well, when you look at the situation, you can see the best from there. The reality is all situations, whether they are negative or positive, they have some positive and some negative aspect. But people who are optimistic, they can see positive aspect in negative things or in dangerous situation or sometimes negative situation because they have ability to focus on positive aspect of many situations. Now, positive attitude can change everything. Yeah, this is very true. So we need to maintain positive attitude in order to have well-being at our place. Now, you need to be slow in judging and quicker in understanding others. Yeah, some people are very quick to judge. They judge very quickly. They make assumptions, which are not correct, and they judge others very quickly. This one creates a lot of misunderstanding at work. And they are not quick to understand. They don't try by any means to understand others. So if you want to maintain workplace well-being, you need to be slow to judge. You need to find evidence of what you think. So we create assumptions for sure, but you need to find evidence for your assumptions. If you find evidence, then you go ahead with your assumption. If you don't find evidence, then you change your opinion or your assumption, and that one can give you good feeling and be able to maintain well-being at work. So quick understanding of others, try to understand other situations, and try to understand what are they saying as well. If you didn't understand, try to ask a question. May I know what you mean by that? But if you just take it personally, as we have said before, then we'll find a lot of problems at work, and we will never be able to maintain well-being. Now, one of the biggest problems also that create problem at workplace is anger. There are people who are hot-tempered. So if you're a hot-tempered person, you need to find anger management training so that you can improve your work well-being. If you get some anger management tips, you will be able to control yourself at work, and apply those tips so that you can be yourself. And when you become angry, you are not yourself anymore. Therefore, you need to have some anger management skills so that you can be happy in different kinds of situations, particularly at workplace. I talked about creativity before, so I think I just jump on that. I believe I'm talking to graduate students. You might also have interest in research. So here I provide certain, measurements that are used to measure stress in different situations. We have coping inventory for stressful situation, work stress questionnaire, the work stress scale, and general work stress scale. These are all useful, tests that can measure stress at workplace. Now, the last point that I wanted to share with you about maintaining, let's say, well-being at work is to be mindful in doing whatever you are doing at work. And mindfulness is very useful in reducing stress. If you know how to use mindfulness, it may help you in different kinds of stressful situations, whether in meetings or doing very difficult job or dealing with a very difficult colleague at work and so forth. It can also make you very happy because you will have some skills of how to deal with your own issues and how to deal with other colleagues who are around you. Now, mindfulness is becoming aware of what is happening in the moment without judgment and not taking things personally. So you try to be objective as possible. And mindfulness can help you to achieve this by providing a certain kind of higher level of attention and understanding of what is around you so that you can make proper or right judgments and right understanding and therefore remain calm, happy, and maintain well-being. Now, one of the things that you need to do is you need to pay attention to what you hear, what you are told by colleagues or by your bosses. If your boss told you to correct your work, be mindful that corrections are required. And well, you need to avoid or to restrain from taking things personally, like, oh, my boss is humiliating me, or he gives me more job than other people. No. That part of work is given to you because you deserve to do the job. So it's not a criticism, it's not a humiliation. That is taking things personally. You need to be objective. How can you do that? You pay attention to what is being said to you so that you can understand exactly your position and your duties. At the end of the day, why did you apply for this employment position? If you think in that way, then you know that, okay, you are supposed to do as many kind of duties at work as possible because it's part of your job description. So assignments are not punishments. Some people, they consider assignment is punishment. But when you pay attention exactly to what is told or is what is said to you, then you can realize that assignments are not punishment, but they are part of your job duties. Now, if you look at this, it can give you an idea about mindfulness. It can provide awareness. You can see awareness on top there. Excuse me. And it can also provide some, awareness at the present moment. Then what happens is it will provide acceptance of the reality, and therefore you'll be living mindful living. Excuse me. 1 minute. Now, mindfulness can provide awareness about our bodily and mental reaction in different situations, particularly at work. And we can control our thoughts by being mindful and subsequently influence our feelings and our behavior, because, well, most of the time, most of our behavior are the result of our thoughts, okay? And our thoughts about ourselves, about the environment we are in, or what we hear, what we see, and so forth. And then it influences our feelings. And we have certain feeling, can be positive or negative feeling. And this kind of feeling will ultimately produce behavior. Look at this figure here. Thinking, we think and we imagine at the middle, then this one produces feelings, okay? And feelings will produce behavior. Now, behavior can be bodily reaction, it can be social reaction, it can be whatever. And whenever we do this, it produces more anxiety. So it becomes a cycle, right, of events that really keeps on going. If they keep on going like this, then you are very far from a workplace well-being or mental health. Therefore, we need to find a technique or a way to handle our own thoughts so that we can be more positive, and mindfulness can help us achieve that goal at work. Now, mindfulness gurus, they say one of the major problems that create issues in our life is reactivity. We react to situations without paying attention. We react to several things and form perception. Those perceptions can be positive or negative. Now, we can reduce our reactivity by being more mindful. How can we do that? Let's take one, let's say, exercise, okay? And try to observe your own self. I don't know how many participants we have here, but I just want you to take 1 minute silence and just observe what is going on in your body, starting from your head, your neck, your shoulders, your arm, your stomach, your thighs, down to your head, down to your toes. Pay the same attention to the sounds around, whether you are in a room. What kind of sound do you hear? Aircon, maybe movement, maybe sounds, maybe air, or what are other sounds that you can hear? By paying this kind of attention, it helps you to make objective decisions, and it may save you from thinking negatively and become stressful in different kind of situation. A wise man said, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking make it so. Means our thinking make things whether they are good or bad. And research has proven that only thinking that you are in a gym, it can help expand your muscles. If you just think that you are in a gym, you focus, deeply, and you think that you are in a gym, it may have to expand your muscles. You may try that by yourself when you are free. Now, I just want to give you another example of how do we react to our thoughts. Okay, Now, I will narrate a story, short story. Just try to focus on what is happening and see what other reaction will you have, or physical reaction will you have in your body. Now, I went to the kitchen. My story goes like this. I went to the kitchen. I took 1 lime and 1 lemon. I washed it. I put it in a plate. Then I took a knife. I went to the dining table. I sat down there. I cut the lemon into 2 pieces. After cutting the lemon in 2 pieces, I squeezed it. I squeezed the lemon, and the lemon juice dropped on the plate. I was feeling a sort of, irritation in my throat. And I just took some of that lemon juice to soothe my irritation in my throat. And it worked wonders. Now, I want you to be honest. Tell me, what kind of sensation you had when I squeezed the lemon? And what kind of sensation you had when I tried to taste the lemon myself? Did you feel the sourness of the lemon yourself? Did you feel that your mouth is really getting full of saliva and so forth? But just thinking what I was doing, it managed, to produce certain reaction, bodily reaction. The same case, our life produces a lot of situation that can produce, a reaction, and the reaction can be physically, or they can be mentally, or socially, and so forth. And therefore, controlling ourselves, we can manage to do that by doing mindfulness practices, because it can calm ourselves and become so calm and very much controlling our own thoughts, our feeling, and our behavior. I just want to ask if we have many participants or only 2 I have seen here. Abdurrahman.
Yes, doctor, we have around 15 participants.
Oh, okay, that's good. So if we have 15 participants, I will spend 10 minutes to do mindfulness practice. And then after that, we will go into Q&A section. Is that okay?
Definitely. Hey guys, if anyone is interested, you can raise your hands and share your thoughts if you wish to. Doctor, for the mindfulness, do you require someone like participating or?
Yeah, well, we'll be, you have to participate because, it's a session. We are going to share, to be involved, all of us.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, all right. So I would like to end this workshop with a short progressive muscle relaxation exercise. I just want you to pay attention and listen to my story and some instructions. And by doing so, you'll find yourself, in the right situation. Please find comfortable position and sit in a very, let's say, relaxed position. Make sure you keep your feet firm on the floor if you are sitting. If you are sleeping or you are laying down on a couch, make sure that you put yourself in a comfortable position. I would like to give you certain kind of instruction, and please just try to follow me as close as possible. All right. I just want you to do the natural thing that we do when you are first born. The time you were born, this very same minute you started breathing, because breathing is very important for you or for us in our life. Now, let us get into that kind of breathing and see how can it give us some sort of, livelihood and control in our own thoughts, feeling, and behavior. Now, if you're comfortable, I will appreciate if you can put one of your hands on your chest and put the second hand on your belly. What we are going to do is we are going to breathe using our belly instead of our chest. So you keep your chest still without movement, and the movement should be in your belly. So whenever you breathe in, it expands. Whenever you exhale, it contracts, and you feel the movement of the hand. I will count I will count 3 to 1, and we start breathing in and out. Now, imagine you are in a very interesting place. It can be a garden, it can be a beach, it can be a room, very calm, very comfortable room, and you want to find kind of relaxation that you need, and you sit comfortably and you start breathing. I will count 3 to 1, and let us start breathing together. 3, 2, 1. Deep breath. Breathe out. Deep breath. Breathe out. Deep breath. Breathe out. Deep breath. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. I want you to keep on breathing, and you reduce the speed of your breathing. Imagine you follow the knock of the hand of the lock of the clock, moving after every second. Tap, 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 tap. Whenever it knocks, you breathe in. Whenever it knocks, you breathe out. Whenever it knocks, you exhale. Whenever it knocks, you exhale. Keep on breathing for a few minutes. While you breathe, I want you to observe the movement of your stomach. Sensing the contraction whenever you breathe out, and sensing the stiffness whenever you breathe in. If you feel comfortable, you may close your eyes for better attention. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. While you inhale and exhale, focus on your stomach and try to observe the stiffness whenever you inhale, and observe the relaxation you get whenever you exhale. Keep on breathing. Whenever you breathe, you take in energy, you take in joy and happiness. And whenever you breathe out, you take out pain, you take out stresses and unwanted material. Keep on breathing. Deep breathing. Deep breathing. Deep breathing. Breathe deeper and deeper. Deep breathing. Deeper. Now, while you keep on breathing, I want you to pay attention to your own body, sensing the sensation you have on your stomach, in your shoulders, in your hands, on your palms, on your feet. Observe that sensation. Observe that attention you have, giving you your power to observe what is going on in your own body. You can hear the sounds of your blood pumping, observing the movement of your lungs, sensing the temperature of air whenever you inhale and whenever you exhale. That ability is based on your attention. You have ability to pay attention and observe whatever is going on in your body. You can hear sounds also out of your body, sensing the sounds and temperature out of your body, observing what is there, hearing sounds, sensing using all your senses, observing the situation in and out your body. I will count 5 to 1. When I reach 1, I would like you to come back to a consciousness, opening your eyes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You may open your eyes and try to come back to your normal breathing pace as usual. Thank you very much for participating in this short exercise. And now, I would like to share with you what kind of experience you had while you close your eyes and you keep on breathing deeply and paying very close focus on what is going on in your own body. Is there any kind of sensation that you had? Please share with us. If there's anyone who had something to share with us, please do.
Guys, if you have anything to say about the experience, please do raise your hand or open your mic or type in the chat. Thank you. So someone is saying it was very relaxing.
Very relaxing. Okay. What kind of sense that she had when she feel relaxed?
Can you please share more? I felt lightheaded as being above a cloud. Wow, nice.
That's right. Very good experience. That's great. It seems this person paid really attention while we were really giving some instruction. Thank you. Is there any other kind of sensation that you had, observation about your own self, environment, that you didn't realize before?
Someone is saying peace of mind.
Peace of mind. That's good. Wow. What I mean here, something that you didn't realize you have before, and you realize when you paid attention in your own body.
From my side, I can say internal, internal powers, something like that. I felt like internal power inside.
Oh, that's good. That's great. That's great. Good observation. Right? Thank you so much for sharing.
Someone is saying my shoulders were very stiff. Wow.
Oh, that's okay. Good. If this person will keep on doing the exercise, after some times, they may feel better, that shoulders can be relaxed. But you need to pay attention on your shoulders. I didn't want to do body scanning. If we manage to do body scanning from the head to the toe 3-4 times, that kind of stiffness could have gone.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right. Well, if you have nothing to share apart from what you have said, then I invite any kind of, let's say, question if we have, so that we have, let's say, a few minutes to discuss about whatever question you have.
Guys, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to share them.
Well, it seems there are questions, no questions, Abdurrahman.
Yeah, until now we don't have any questions, but from my side, I can from my personal experience about mindfulness, I can say that it really helps me to de-stress in a lot of situations. But the problem, my problem is to be consistent on it. I am never able to be consistent with mindfulness, even though I know it is really important. But I have difficulty on practicing it, for example, daily. So
Okay.
any advices to be able to stay consistent on that, because it really does help to de-stress.
Okay. Mindfulness is a practice. A practice, you can always be good at that if you keep on doing, you try to do. Maybe at the beginning you won't have got good experiences, or you won't be able to see any changes. But whenever you do it, you manage to do it better, and therefore you get used to the situation, and your body gets used to what you are doing, and you will have better experiences after some time. So my suggestion is that keep on doing it, and try to find particular time so that your body can get used to this time I'm doing mindfulness. And therefore you'll be able to achieve a lot based on the practices you are going to do. So practice will make you perfect, Rahman.
That's great. Doctor, we have a question saying, when should I consider resigning due to stress? Like, how much stress should I handle myself through mindfulness and exercises?
How much?
Someone,
How much? The question is, can you say it again?
I think these are two different questions, but like someone is saying, when should I consider resigning from my job due to stress? I think.
Okay. Well, maybe this person is very stressful to the extent that he decided or she decided to resign. Yeah, you understand? So what kind of, uh, I mean, what the other part of the question?
I think it's the same question, but she's saying like I consider like how much stress should I handle myself through mindfulness and
Okay, all
exercise?
right. Yeah. If you do exercise, particularly mindfulness, it will be able to reduce your level of stress and you can make the right decision at the end because sometimes we decide to resign. We need the job. We decide to resign because we feel, a lot of pressure that we cannot handle anymore. If you manage to calm down, you will have control of your own thoughts, and therefore you will have control of your feeling, and you can have control of your behavior. So you can make the right decision after doing, repeated mindfulness practices.
That's great.
Uh,
Guys, any other questions or any other thoughts?
all right.
I
I
think
think
we're about
the
to
time,
finish.
exactly, the
Yes.
time is over. So the
I'll
last
just
statement, I would like to repeat the last statement I said at the beginning. Obstacles are part of our life. We cannot run away from that. Overcoming them is key to our happiness. So we need to find a way to overcome our obstacles. And we can only do that if we can control our own stressors. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you for listening. And thank you, Abdurrahman, for coordinating.